Ginger here. So I'm starting actually in my office. So if you want to just sort of look around, there's Jalaal's plaques from last year's Sporthorse National on the wall. And then we have all the ribbons from the dogs and the horses behind me. So if you like my videos, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell so that way you never miss one of my videos. And my videos are posted every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. California time. So let's get into it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Since I'm in my office and I was getting ready to go outside to ride, I thought we would kind of talk about the dressage test. So this is one of my score sheets from my show, and I have all the score sheets here. And I just want to kind of talk about some of the comments that you're going to see, especially in the lower level tests, especially when you're developing a new partnership with a horse, it's your first show, you know, whatever it is. So some of the comments that you're going to get, especially as an amateur or a beginning amateur rider, don't make any sense to you. So like comment on my track left for my lengthening. It says very hollow, stride restrictive. The next comment for the next movement, some tension, crosses well. Next comment, tempo varied, and then on and on and on. But what you'll see, especially when you have a tense horse and you're not quite together on the same page, is you're going to see the term hollow be repeated over and over and over and over again on your test. And I remember when I started showing several years ago on my Arabian, Jalaal, it was like every test said hollow, 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 hollow. And I didn't know what it meant. And at the time, my riding knowledge wasn't very good, and I was still learning, dressage. I wasn't completely into learning what each of these terms meant. And I felt like I needed an encyclopedia or a dictionary to explain what these things meant. So hollow means that the horse has disengaged their back. So think of it as a sway back. So when your horse is moving in dressage, you want the back to come up. As they lift their belly, the back comes up. And then they round their body. And rounding just means that the back is coming up, the belly is coming in, and the top line is rounding. It's getting shorter. So think of it kind of like a beach ball or a basketball. So those are some of the things that I used to see on videos, and I didn't quite understand what it meant. So what it means is when the horse goes hollow, means he's dropped his back. His back has sunk down. What that does is it picks his head up. So his head goes up, back drops, and now he's moving hollow, which is where the term comes from. So I wanted to kind of explain that a little bit, and I'll put some video in, and I'll show you what it looks like on video. It may not be as obvious on a big moving horse like Regalo, but Jalaal was hollow most of the time I showed him up until the last 2 years when I really started to dial in my transitions. So when the horse is moving from behind or using his hindquarters to really drive through and push from behind, which is really what you want in dressage. You want the big engine behind you, the back end, to be pushing you forward and lifting the front end. And in order to do that, they have to pick up their belly, they have to round their top line, and they start developing muscle along the neck on the top. They develop muscles underneath on the belly to lift the belly, and then they round the back end in order to be able to drive forward and have the rear legs coming under the body to propel the horse forward. So that's kind of a long-winded thing, but it's really important to understand what hollow means. And how do you get a horse to not be hollow? Well, it's having the horse driving forward, pushing from behind, rounding his top line, lifting his belly, and staying on the contact, staying on the bit. rather than letting go and disengaging and throwing his head up and getting above the bit. And that's another term that I might as well talk about, is when the horse's forehead is in this orientation. His mouth is here, ears are up here. He is on the bit. If his head tilts in, which we say like eating the chest, like their mouth is eating the chest, he's behind the bit. If his head comes up, his nose sticks out. If the nose is sticking out and the head is rising, that means he's above the bit. So we don't want them above the bit. We don't want them behind the bit. We want them on the bit, which means his head is perpendicular to the ground. So all these little pieces together will help bring your horse together, so that way they're developing the appropriate muscles in order to be able to perform the movements at whatever level you're at in order to do dressage properly. So that's it in a nutshell. I just thought I'd touch on it. I'll throw some clips in there. But again, when you're working with a new partnership and you're working with a developing horse, you're going to continue to have these issues with hollowing until you're both on the same page, you're on the aids, the horse is in your hand, which means he's staying on the contact, he's in your hand, he's between your legs, and he's driving himself forward through the bridle and rounding his body and lifting his belly. Oh, okay. So you see how he's sticking his nose out in front of the vertical. So his nose is not parallel to the ground. It's out in front. So what he's doing by having his head up and his nose out like that is he's actually dropping his back. So in order to be round and to be on the contact, let me just pick him up a little bit here, is we want his nose vertical like this so that he's carrying himself. We're not carrying him for him. We want his face to be perpendicular to the ground and to him to be on the contact. And what that does is it forces him to use these muscles here to pick his back up and to round his body. So let me get into the warm-up, and then we will talk a little bit about how he's hollow or how he's round. Get him back on the contact. Okay, so he's rushing. So I'm going to inside leg, insist that he's softened. Good. And I'm sitting because he actually is happier with me sitting than posting. So a little bit of balancing. Good, give. So when I balance, I check, and then I give, and then he can carry himself. The checking is a reminder for him to maintain his balance. He's not actually very balanced right now. He's not bending very well. Okay, there he goes. So now we have a better bend. Check. You can see he's coming onto the bridle, which is what I want. Now we're going to change direction. I'm going to open my inside hip. So my hips are turning, my shoulders are turning in the direction that I want to go. I'm not pulling on the inside rein. I'm just adjusting my body position. So I'm checking him. Check. So I can feel him getting tense. So I bounce a little bit more when he's tense, and I don't bounce as much when he's round. So you can notice he's going up and down with the contact. So I give him a little inside leg, catch him. As the shoulder goes out, I catch it with my outside leg to keep in between my legs and my hands. So as he's moving around the circle, I'm adjusting my outside leg to either keep the shoulder going to follow his head or to move his hip over. Hey, so there he's just pulling against me. And then my inside leg, just move him over. I'm just moving the shoulder. Move the shoulder. There we go. My inside leg is working here near the girth to get him to bend and give the bend on the inside of the circle. So I'm not pulling his head, I'm using my legs and my seat to get him to bend. We'll do a little bit of cantering after the walk break. And then we'll do some more walking after that. And go for a walk around the property after that. Don't do it. I know you're getting sweaty, huh? Yeah. Good boy. All right. All right. Easy, easy. So we'll just do a couple more transitions. Make sure he's with me. So he's fairly round. I'm going to ask. Now he is in front of the vertical and he's on the wrong lead. So I'm going to try that again. I'm not going to worry about it. There. Perfect. Good boy. Good boy. Give. Balance. Give. Good. Balance. Give. Donkeys at A. Good boy. Now I am sitting on him. I just want him to roll nice and easy. He is above the bit, so he's hollow right now. There we go. I'm going to try working him down so that he's on the bit so that I can do the transition. Ooh, good. So I did the transition there without losing the connection. So next time you're at a show, make sure you read the comments. And then if you don't know, do Google search. Find out what these terms mean. What is it that the judge is trying to explain to you that maybe you're not knowledgeable enough yet about what these comments mean? But they're quite important. What they're doing is they're telling you the horse has tension, the horse is dropping his back, the horse is not moving properly. And these are all things that there are training issues that you need to address, which most of us that have ridden through these lower levels before, duh. But I'm just trying to make sure that you know what it is they're trying to tell you, because at the time when I was learning and my first time through the training level ranks and the intro level ranks, I didn't know what these things meant. And I had to rely on other people to try to explain it to me, which didn't always make sense. But then as you're learning and your knowledge grows, then it starts to come together and you go, oh, okay, well, I have to have the horse between my hands and my legs, and what does that mean? And I can't let him disengage, which means throwing his head up, disengaging his back, throwing his head up, dropping his back, and going hollow. We can't have that happening. So anyway, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and ding the bell. And every week we'll have some more content for you.